How you doing, guys? I thought today I'd start with a bit of nomenclature. I'll demonstrate on my S5. In America you might call this the hood. In Australia it's the bonnet. And moving down the back, in America it's the trunk. In Australia it's the boot. So in Australia I say this is the froot. Alright, my next task on the car is to start fixing up the abomination that is the right-hand drive conversion in this car. They really butchered it up and made a big mess of it. So basically my plan is to make it much tidier, and also a big issue I have is that if I have a brake booster in this car, it's got to sit about here. And it's fine on the left-hand drive car, this is designed for that. The right-hand drive car has a different shaped smuggler's box and there's a space here for it. So what my task is to take this smuggler's box lid and cut it around here somewhere, so then I can actually cut it, shrink it, and make a place where I can put a brake booster in the future if I choose to do so, and also go through and fix up this abominable mess and make it something to be a bit neater and tidier. Alright, now you can see here what I've done is I've actually cut this piece off of the end of the smuggler's box lid, and now I've marked it out onto the panel up further, so I'm going to make a smuggler's box lid something that shaped. Alright, you can see here that I've cut out the two bits of the smuggler's box, and I've just got to make them try and fit together. Now if you have a look along this edge here, this is sitting much higher, so I'm going to have to get the hammer and dolly out and see if I can beat it and adjust it so that it'll all fit nicely, and then I can weld the two bits together. Alright guys, and now that's a finished miniature smuggler's box lid. Now I've welded it all together and it's all bolted back in, just using the single hinge instead of two hinges. And the next part is to cut out this end of the smuggler's box housing and weld it in up here, and then I can put a flat plate here and we've filled in the area. And I'll also use a little piece of this redundant bit of smuggler's box edge there and weld it in here, so I can fill in this section along there and put a plate over here and tidy up this engine bay a bit. Alright, and you can see here that I've cut out this piece from this far end here, welded it in, and I've cut a couple of other bits and pieces and sort of cut pieces together to fill in that gap, so I've got a nice even gap all the way around the edge of the new smuggler's box. Alright, as you can see, I've got the two makeshift panels tacked in, so it's just time to weld it all up and grind it all back. And there they are, all grinded in. Okay, so the next job, this steering arm is just been cut into the body like it is. It's pretty ugly. Now normally this would be above this panel, but the way that they've already done this, basically all I'm going to do is going to build a sheet metal cover over the top of this and fill in this whole area here, so it's just nice and neat and tidy, and the steering arm can then be disconnected from underneath the car if need be. So another cardboard template down and another piece tacked into place. So now just build a little piece for up here and a piece to cover this here, and we're good. And there we go. The patch is all tacked in, just waiting to be finished, welded and grinded. Alright, that looks a lot neater. Finally fixed up their dodgy conversion. You can see it's all covered in a nice coat of weld-through primer. Bet the whole thing's looking much nicer, but overall it's quite nice and neat now. Much better than the atrocious attempt they did before. Okay, next challenge is to fix some of these rusted metal parts here. So I just got to create a new patch for here, another one for under here, and another one for here. And we'll get it all tidied up and sorted out. And all patched up with a coat of weld through primer on there. Next up, we've got to see what we can do about this. It's going to be much more interesting because there is quite a bit of rust in there. Alright, you can see here that I've repaired this patch in this side here. And after a fair bit of beating and shaping, I've made this weird piece using a cardboard template that fits in quite nicely into this corner here that I now have to go through and weld in. And there it is, all patched up. That's that corner done, and this corner of the car rust repaired. Okay, I've just come over to the other corner of the windscreen, and I've just noticed that they've got another one of these bodgy patches they used on the door that they just chucked over the top of the rust on this side. So there's, from what I thought was going to be a simple repair, is going to be a bit more complicated again on this side, because I'm sure everything underneath that is all going to be rusted. So I've got a few spots to repair in here, and let's get into it. So there we go, you can see what they've hidden underneath this patch. Just slap a patch over the top and it'll be right. Rust gone. Idiots. Alright, now you can see the fruit is all done, it's all repaired, and the rust on the corners of the windows is all done. So it's amazing how many hours can get soaked up just trying to make little patch panels. Making out a cardboard template, then copying it, then cutting it out, then trimming it, making it fit perfectly, folding it, beating it to shape, back, cutting, beating, folding, shaping, and then weld it in and grind it up. There's a lot of work, but finally, at least we're fixing up a lot of the little problem areas that the last guys did. I've noticed there was quite a few of these little patches on the car. Once I looked into it further, they just patched straight over the rust. So now that I've gone through and gotten rid of them, we can start moving further forward with the car. So the fruit is now done, and we're ready to move on to the next step, which could possibly be fitting the body kit. We'll just have to see what else I have in store. All right.